If you're ready, let's get going. You're going to start standing up nice and tall, feet about hip distance apart, and either just gazing down towards the floor or closing your eyes all together here. Start to take some nice deep breaths in and out through your nose, maybe a light seal on your lips. Just do a little bit of a scan from head to toe. Notice how the body feels this morning. And when you get down to your feet, switch it around and go from bottom up again. Scanning from the soles of your feet up and out through the crown of your head. When you get to the head, start to pull your chin down towards your chest. Find a little length through your neck, through your cervical spine here as you go. And then start to take your chin over to your right shoulder. Carve a bit of an arc. Let the ear drop behind you. Take your nose up and overhead to your second side. Pull your chin down and in until you get back to where you started here in the center, chin to chest. Another nice deep breath in and out. And then go around to the left or the opposite direction that you went the first time. Greatest pain-free circle here with the head and the neck. When you come back, chin to chest, take another nice deep breath in and out. As you finish your exhale, bring your head up to parallel with the ground. Start to circle your shoulders up, over, and around. And try and make sure that it's just your shoulders that are going here so that there's no rounding of your spine. It's just your shoulders moving up towards your ears, backwards, down and around. And then switch directions. So just shoulder caps, but switching from forwards to backwards or backwards to forwards. As you come around this time, bring your arms with you. Nice big overhead stretch. Get long from top to bottom. With your arms up overhead, maybe take a nice easy tip over to one side. Breathe into your opposite ribs. Tip over to the other side. Same thing, breathe into your opposite ribs. Come back to center, send those arms behind you. Reach back, nice big circle. As you get down towards the floor, we'll just take the right arm, spin it palm forwards. Take it across your body, up and overhead. Pause here, get long through the side of your body. And then spin that thumb around and away from you so it points to the right as you start to reach back and circle that arm around. End here with your palm facing away from you, and then reverse that circle up. Wind that arm out, reach up overhead, pause here, get long, and then take that arm across and in front until you come back to where you started. One more just like that, across and in front, up and overhead, pause here, get long. Spin that thumb away from you to the right as you reach back, keep winding that arm down and in, and then your palm is going to face away from you as you get here. And then reverse direction, thumb up, wind it out, reach up and overhead. Pause here, grab a hold of your wrist with your left hand, pull up towards the ceiling, and then over for a nice big side stretch. So breathe into those right ribs. If you need to widen your base of support, go for it. Think about stacking your right shoulder on top of your left in space. And then just let that right arm come down towards your side again. Maybe give them a little bit of a shake. Let's do the same thing on the left. So left palm will spin forwards, come across, up and overhead. Pause here, get long through the side of your body. And then take that left thumb and start to point it out away to the left. As you reach back, keep winding that arm in and down as you go. And then you're going to reverse direction. So thumb presses up and back behind you. Unwind that arm, reach up, over and around. Take it across in front. palm faces forwards as we finish. One more time. As you come across, notice that you don't turn your whole body, that it just comes here from the shoulder, reaching up and overhead. Pause and get long. That thumb is going to wind out and to the left as you keep reaching back. Keep winding this arm down and in. So you're finding some rotation here. As you get back down to your side, palm faces out. And then press that thumb up and wind it out as you reach tall. Pause here, right grabs left wrist, think up towards the sky and then over, take a nice big tip. Left shoulder stacks on top of your right in space as you breathe into your left ribs. And then let the whole thing come all the way back down. Start to take your arms and cross them over your shoulders here. So I'm sort of giving myself a little bit of a hug. Everything that we're going to do from here for this next exercise is going to happen basically from your rib cage up. So start to think about squeezing your glutes together, maybe even taking your legs close together. But if you start to feel a little wobbly, you can come back to feet up underneath hips for a better base of support. So start to take your chin to your chest and take a little bit of a round just in your upper body. Keep squeezing your glutes here. So chin to collarbones, rounding, sort of like hugging your arms in towards your chest. Then you're going to turn just your upper body and rotate to the right. Still rounded, still tucking chin to chest. Max out that rotation. Notice that your hips don't follow, sort of like twisting upper and lower body in opposition. Right shoulder is going to drop towards the floor. Create some space between your left ribs. Keep taking some nice deep breaths here as you take this stretch. Keep squeezing your glutes as you send your head behind you and push your chest up towards the ceiling to move through a little bit of a back bend here. And then left shoulder to the floor. Breathe into your right ribs. And then take your whole upper body, your whole chest, rotate it to the left. Max out that rotation as much as you can. And then chin to chest, round forwards where we came from. Stand up nice and tall. Maybe release your arms and give them a quick shake. We're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go around to the left. So if you think of it, switch the cross of your arms. If you don't remember which arm was on top, that's totally fine. Chin to chest here, round over your arms, crossed on top of your chest. Then start to max out the rotation to the left. So keep your hips facing forwards as your chest rotates to the left. Lots of muscles around the center of your body here, ribs, abs, obliques. Then start to take that left shoulder and drop it towards the floor. Your chest ends up facing me again because you're straight on. Right shoulder stacked on top of the left one. Breathe into those right ribs. Now start to take your head behind you. Keep squeezing those glutes. Find a little back bend here. Chest presses up towards the ceiling. Then we come to a side bend on the right. Breathe into those left ribs. Then we're going to take the whole chest and rotate it to the right, just like we did on the previous repetition. Max out that rotation. My hip bones are still facing forwards. And then I'm going to round forwards to come back to where we started. Keep the round in your upper body. Let your arms dangle towards the floor. Keep that rounding going as your fingertips trace down the fronts of your legs here. We're going to work into your greatest forward fold of the morning. That might mean that your legs bend deeply or they're straight, whatever version works here for you. Hands might find the floor, your feet, or maybe your elbows rest on top of your knees. Try to get your head pointing down towards the ground. Take a couple deep breaths. If your hands are propped up somewhere, release them towards the floor, tuck your tailbone, and roll up. Alternately, if you need a little help, you could walk your hands up the front of your legs, trying to round through your back here as much as you can. Take those hands, press them palms up behind you, circle up and overhead. Take your left hand down towards the floor. Trace the outline of your leg as you breathe into your right ribs over here. And then keep this going. Trace down and see how low you can touch. Maybe it's knee, shin, ankle, or the floor. Take a big breath at the bottom. As you breathe out, press through your feet. Push your ribs over to the right to get a little stretch through your side body. Same thing on the other side. Right hand down, trace the outline of your leg, breathe into your left ribs. And then keep going. Bend into your hips and your knees. Maybe you stop at the knee or you start to move down towards your foot or the floor. Big breath here. And then press through those feet. Push your ribs a little bit out to the left. Take both arms up and overhead. Nice big stretch here. We're going to take a nice big forward fold, but you're going to go through a flat back to get there. Pause at the bottom. Again, your knees could be really deeply bent. Your elbows could be propping here. Just try to let your head dangle towards the floor. Any version here that works for you. Maybe you start to pedal your knees a little bit. Maybe you take both hands over to one side or both elbows over onto one knee. And then walk yourself through the middle and go over to your other side. Returning back to the center, tucking your tailbone and rolling up nice and slow. Find as much rounding as you can here. As you start to get to the top, let's squeeze those glutes here. We're going to take a little back bend. So spin your palms forwards, let your shoulders drop down. As you start to find some extension just through the upper spine here. So glutes are turned on, creating some support from your lower back or for your lower back here. Start to look up and push your chest towards the ceiling as you tilt backwards, but try not to bend from your knees and send your hips forwards because that's going to compress your lower back. Think of yourself like a sticker that you're trying to peel off the wall. So as you look up and you lean back, fingers reach down towards the floor, glutes keep squeezing. You can do as much or as little here as you like. When you're ready, work your way all the way back up. Stand nice and tall, maybe start to just wiggle everything out. Maybe you make that arm swing a little bit bigger and your arms go front to back. Maybe you add a little bit of a bounce here so that your arms really aren't generating any, like your muscles aren't doing much, it's just momentum that's moving them here. Then maybe we slow it down and go side to side. So same thing, you could keep your feet stationary here, or you could start to pivot off your back foot and find some rotation. Getting your hips and your lower body more involved. Then we'll slow it down and we'll make it about the legs here. So instead of swinging upper body, we're going to swing lower body. So if you need to use some support, go to a wall. If you've got, a piece of furniture close by that you could hold onto, you're just going to take one leg and free swing it front to back. Right? So don't try to move it too much. Like don't try to make it muscle it through. Make it more about momentum. And then slow it down and take that leg side to side in front of your body. This one's a little more challenging. Good. Then take that leg and step it behind and on the diagonal here. So my legs are a little bit, trying to get a good angle for you. So I step back and cross behind and then reach up and over and take a nice big side stretch. Breathe into those right ribs. Right now my chest is facing front, but maybe I start to turn my chest down towards this front leg and find a stretch across the back corner. Keep reaching away from you. Keep breathing into those right ribs. Maybe you take your chest and turn it up towards the ceiling. Start to rotate and face up. Top arm drifts behind you. Good. As you come around, stand tall, grab a hold of that knee, whichever side you're on here, right? Maybe one hand, maybe two hands. Nice. As you're here, start to drive your knee into your hand. So you're trying to break the bond of your fingers, but you can't. Good, then try and pull that knee a little higher. And then again, drive your knee into your hands, try and break them apart, but you can't. Good, one more time, pull that knee high and step it down. Maybe shake everything out. We're gonna do that same thing over on the other side. So it starts with your second side, front to back swing. Nice and easy. And again, if you need some support, a wall, a piece of furniture, whatever's around, whatever's not going to move. And then start to take that leg side to side in front of your body. Nice, easy swing. Good. And then step that foot behind and on the diagonal again. Okay. So you could make this shallow, like feet very close, or you could take this a little further away, right? Reach up and over, breathe into those ribs. Now you could stay facing forwards or start to take your chest, turn it towards that leg, and then reach over and away. Sort of like there's like a big beach ball or something here that you're reaching over the top. And then take that rib cage, turn it, spin it up towards the ceiling a little bit. Maybe you look up, but if your balance is a little wobbly, stay facing forwards here as you just reach back with this top hand. And then circle it back and around, grab a hold of that knee with one or two hands, totally up to you. And just start to pull up towards your chest here, see what's going on with that leg. And then start a series just twice through here. Push your knee into your hands. It's not trying to max it out, but maybe about 50%. And then hands pull that knee up a little higher. And then drive your knee into your hands. Don't lose your balance. And then pull that knee up a little higher. Nice job. And then gently set it down. Take those feet just slightly wider than your hips. Turn your toes out just gently. It's not a full turn out where your toes point directly to the left and the right. Split the difference. Maybe it's about 45 degrees here. Take those hands high to the sky and start to take a nice big forward fold. Maybe your hands land on your shins. Maybe you get your hands down towards the floor, start to bend your knees and drop your hips down between your heels. So at first, your hips might stop at the same level as your knees or your thighs. You will reach forwards and then we'll stand up. We're going to do this a couple times. As you go, big circle, fold in half. Maybe you start to drop your hips a little bit lower than the level of your knees. Okay, you're working into your greatest squat this morning. Hands forwards, stand up. And again, this can be as deep or as shallow as you like. You could also add a little bit of movement here. So as you get to the bottom, maybe you put one hand on the floor or your foot and you find a twist. You could also do this twist at the top. Right? But the base is always the same, right? It's a forward fold, drop the hips, deepest squat you can find, hands forwards, stand up, okay? But some of this is about like trying to move through some different positions here, find some stretches that might work for you. If you get down here and want to play around with this, you could drop one knee in, take it out, drop the other knee in, take it out. Good. Maybe you start to put your hands on the floor and you pick up your heels, drive knees over toes. You might want to take this sort of windmill action. So I tip over to the side. I come down through center. Maybe you pause here. Come up on the other side. Nice and slow as you go. Try not to make it too fast, right? Especially if you have balance issues. You want to be able to move slowly through each of these positions. Let your balance and your equilibrium catch up. Good. As you finish this time, we're going to come back to where we started, which was feet up underneath hips. I'm just going to turn this way because I'm going to travel a little bit backwards, and I want you to be able to see where I'm going. So from sort of your mountain pose, feet up underneath hips, take those hands high, transfer your weight onto your right foot and pull your left knee up. Pause in this balance, and then step that foot back and find a high lunge. So hips, knees, and toes are all facing forwards here, and you're up on the ball of your back foot. So you're sort of in this low lunge. You're sort of, it's not a low lunge, I misspoke. You're in a high lunge, but this back knee is bent and you're sort of getting low here. Arms come high. You're going to take that right hand and reach down towards the floor. Hands are going to reach in opposition. So left one up, right one down. Maybe find a stretch across that left hip flexor, the front side of that left hip. Now we're going to turn it into a twist. Left hand forwards, right hand back. You could stay looking forwards or start to follow it around and look over your back thumb. Good. Circle it forwards. Backhand comes forwards. Stay facing front here. As we start to drive that back heel down, take the arms up and reach forward. So you're sort of in this angled position from fingertips down through that back heel. And as I stand up, I'm going to drive that left foot up and through. Maybe take my hands to my hips. Maybe take my hands onto that knee and start to point and flex my foot in preparation for taking it around in a circle, getting some nice big ankle circles in here. As you finish this next one, step that foot down, shake out this right leg. We're going to repeat that on the other side. So feet up underneath hips, take your hands nice and high, reach, transfer your weight onto your left foot, pull the right one up. If hands overhead is too challenging, you can take them out to the sides like an airplane. Step back and find your high lunge. Remember, your hips and knees and toes are all pointing forwards, and you're going to bend into that back knee a little. Don't be afraid to lengthen your stance. If you get here and you feel really cramped, take that foot a little bit further back. Both hands come high to the sky. Get long through the sides of your body before you take your left hand and reach down towards the floor. So reach in opposition here, and then check in, maybe tuck your pelvis a little bit. So if you had a tail, you'd be trying to tuck it between your legs. As you reach in opposition, keep taking some nice deep breaths. And then turn it into a twist. Right hand forwards, left hand back. Maybe stay looking forwards or follow it around and look at that back thumb. And circle everything front. Take those arms up and away, drive down through that back heel. Your chest is coming a little more forwards and down towards this front thigh as you create this angled lunge. And then drive into that front foot, catch a hold of your back knee. Catch your balance at the same time. Pull that knee up. Start to point and flex through your foot and ankle. And then take that big toe around in a circle. A couple times clockwise, a couple times counterclockwise. As you step it down and shake it out. One last little thing we'll do here is take those feet nice and wide. Keep your hips, your knees, and your toes are all going to face forward. So I'm going to dip over to the right side. But even as I lunge this way, my knee goes forward. So it's kind of tricky because my hips are going to the right, but my knee is going forwards. So as I lunge, I sit back into this glute. My knee drives forwards, and I catch a stretch perhaps in this left leg here, okay? And you can most certainly use your hands for support as you go. Let's come back through center and do it to the left. So my hip is going to go back. My knee is going to go forwards. Maybe my hands come to this left knee for support. As I think about stretching or even pushing this right leg away from me to catch a stretch on the inside of that groin. And let's keep going side to side here. Sinking a little bit lower as you go, perhaps finding a little bit of a deeper stretch. We could even add a twist to this as well. So as I dip to the right, my left hand catches a hold of the knee or slides to the outside. My right arm comes high and I spin my chest to the left. Sorry, to the right. And then let's try that to the other side. Now it's spin your chest to the left. Couple times each side here. And it could be as simple as that lunge that we started with, or as complex as this, adding the spin. Good, as you come back through center this time, step both feet in, take them high to the sky. Nice big forward fold. Pause at the bottom here. Again, you could use your hands for support. Top of your head dangles down. Maybe if your balance is okay, start to shake your head yes gently down here. Maybe you shake your head gently no. One more big breath in and out. And as you finish, start to press through your feet, round through your spine. Perhaps use your hands for support. Walk them up your legs as you go. Roll yourself up until your head is stacked on top. Take those shoulder caps, roll them up, over and around. Couple times forwards. And then a couple times backwards. And then last thing, chin to chest. Think about, if you can see my high bun here, think about having a string attached to the back of your head, sort of in the same position that my bun is, so that as I dip my chin to my chest, I feel a little pull up and back on the back corner of my neck here. So I find a little more stretch. So lean into that stretch here. Take your chin over to one side. We're going to repeat those neck circles, head and neck circles here. Just like when we started. Nice and slow. Pause anywhere you feel a good stretch. One circle clockwise. One circle counterclockwise. Keep in mind it's just the head and the neck that are moving here. Good. As you finish, let your chin drop down towards your chest. Take a couple nice deep breaths. And then slowly start to stack your head back up on top of your shoulders. And if you feel like you want to shake everything out, you can shake, or you could just stand still. Keep your eyes closed for just a second or gazing softly down at the floor. Take a light seal on your lips and 5 or 6 big breaths here, in and out through the nose. Perhaps repeating that same scan that we did at the very beginning, moving from top to bottom, checking in to see how you feel. When you get to the bottom, reverse that scan, go from bottom up and out through the crown of the head. Trying to take the deepest, biggest breaths that you can. As you finish your next one, gently tuck your chin down towards your chest, flutter your eyes open, and come back into the space around you.